The Diary of a Certified Psychopath. Off the crank. Too pretty for prose. Sorry, but I can't possibly spin out any further florid stock phrases in humble homage to the soul-stirring sights and sublime sonic spectacles of this spring's central reprise, when I'm far too busy living and breathing them. Within the opening traverse of this late twilight trundle over senior stomping ground, I'd witness blackbirds playfully vaulting the dense clusters of daisies and dandelions that now flourished from every grassy verge along Shoreham's peaceful peninsula. Though the foremost wish of these perennial weeds, should their precious petals not prematurely perish beneath a misplaced talon, is to savour the tell-tale buzz and sensuous tickle of nature's panniered pollinators. Arrayed in their signature seasonal livery of vibrant vanilla and black velvet, bumbling in blissful trances from one blessed flower to the next, bewitched by an intoxicating synergy of kaleidoscopic colours and aromatic cocktails. These airborne pillars of Earth's prolific plant populace are born with the unerring will to serve at all costs, and harbour a work ethic equalled only by their tenacious survival instinct, which carries a far more tangible sting in its tail than did today's soothing song of the South, which coaxed half-masted windsocks to wave in unanimous approval of its lilting chorus, and ruffled Queen Clematis's radiant petals till they glowed a brighter shade of coral pink than the blossoming cherry trees of Blackpatch Grove. Fleets of droning crop sprayers armed with innate powers of flight, prepared to ferry fertile gold dust upon their furry brows in return for a bountiful flask of the life-availing elixir with which to hive off and gratify the gluttonous demands of their tyrannical queen. "Those bowing buddleia bushes look ripe for ransacking," thrummed one eager honeybee within my earshot. "Let's tackle those first, and then move on to a main course of freshly air-fried lavender and lemon balm, and make a pick-and-mix of garden flowers our fragrant dessert. As for those leaning towers of Essium Pininana, or whatever they're called, let's leave them till a calmer day, as they sway like wild wool barley in the slightest breeze, and I can't hang with heights when I'm busy looting." A little later, on a different day, but roughly the same spoke's throw from home, I beseeched Earth's sinking luminary to please kindly let that stocky figure I spied in full-blown 70s mod uniform be propelled by more than his own sentient steam, as he made effortless headway into a tepid yet turbulent westerly breeze but a few yards up the beaten bitumen. I may have been clinging to the back of Fitness's bandwagon with frost-bitten fingernails since last Christmas, but no flat-bar steed could possibly hang fire with, let alone out-drag my pedal-powered magic carpet, were it not aided by some form of performance-enhancing electronics, and beyond that of the kind that facilitates slick shifting. A handful of hunched pedal strokes later, pulling alongside my unwitting pace-setter during this brief pride-fueled spell of pulmonary self-abuse, I was most relieved to observe his otherwise nondescript trailblazer's deep-profile down-tube, bulky bottom bracket, and detect a high-pitched howl above the resonant purr of its knobbly tyres, all but definitive signs of motor-aided mechanics. Edged past its shingle road's sweeping left-hander with a tentative smile, firmly expecting my e-doping nemesis to twist his throttle and surge off into the crepuscular horizon. However, his velocity remained constant, suggesting either mindfulness to conserve a dying battery, or that he was hindered by one of those exceptionally rare e-bikes which abided by Britain's stringent speed limit of 15 free-wheeled miles per hour. With this silent altercation still fresh in my head, I followed with an unsaddled haul up Rosemary Drive, before rolling steadily south and back across Shoreham's lateral suburban divide, then stopped outside a familiar dwelling halfway down Crown Road, next to what appeared to be a decommissioned window display of vintage Disney memorabilia, and wondered how I might squeeze every charming trinket into a pair of distressed jeans pockets. Looking closer, I noted that Messrs. Minnie and Mickey Mouse were accompanied by other colourful characters from outside their defining franchise, including an orphaned SpongeBob, Peppa Pig on a stick, Betty Bug-Eyed Boop, Snoopy and Woodstock, Thomas the Tank Engine, the Tetley Brothers, and one heavily sun-bleached effigy of Bart Simpson that looked aged enough to have been salvaged from Tutankhamun's tomb. Then, just as a Persian cat scuttled across my paved path, shaking its silky paws free of a blossoming cherry tree's floral fallout, truth solved my dilemma. For unlike the foldable trestle table, flat-pack AV stand, and flip-top bureau, pictured, all of which I'd passed just 3 driveways north, these arresting embodiments of classic and contemporary cartoon culture were not seeking new accommodation. Rather, they'd been strategically stationed to encourage generous donations from impressionable pedestrians, whose children might well be attending the very same nursery school that Bart's present and now adult owner had over 3 decades earlier, wishing that double science would hurry up and finish so that they could gamble out into the playground and flog home-baked cupcakes to their ravenous peers at 3 times the price of those at the school tuck shop. Or perhaps these savvy philanthropists were their aforementioned parents' offspring, and appealing to soft-hearted strangers for financial aid to invest in palm-sized toys that would harbour all of their animated heroes on super-bright screens in ultra-high resolution, at over triple the frames per second that they could ever be observed in their latest cinematic feature. Armed with these mini-portals to cyberspace, they could command each of their fictional role models to explore fully interactive 3D environments, rendered in pixel-perfect clarity from spectacularly detailed textures and afforded breath-snatching realism by an array of dazzling lighting effects, combined with enough hardware-accelerated ray tracing to reflect the dollar signs in their designers' eyes. My apologies. I guess I was just distracted by Apple's latest bloatware-ridden update of iOS, which I intend to postpone being force-fed until at least the next blue moon.